The unlikely encounter. The Horizon station hung like a metal sentinel against the endless black of space, its exterior scarred by years of interstellar dust and forgotten promises. Maya Rodriguez stood at the observation deck, her calloused fingers tracing the reinforced glass, watching the distant nebula shimmer in hues of purple and blue. Another 12-hour shift in the station's maintenance corps had left her exhausted, but the view always restored something within her, a reminder of why she'd left Earth's overcrowded cities behind. The station's corridors were a melting pot of species, though melting was perhaps too generous a term. Humans dominated the administrative levels, while other species were relegated to the lower decks, survival hanging by the thinnest of threads. Maya had seen it all, the sideways glances, the unspoken barriers, the silent discrimination that ran deeper than any hull breach. A commotion near the supply depot caught her attention. A tall, slender figure with iridescent skin stood trembling, clutching a small bundle that Maya realized was a child. The station's security personnel surrounded the alien, their stance aggressive, their hands hovering near their shock batons. No documentation, no access, the lead security officer barked. His voice was a knife's edge of contempt. You can't just drift in here expecting sanctuary. The alien, a species Maya recognized as Illyrian, known for their delicate bone structure and luminescent skin, stood motionless. Her large, almond-shaped eyes reflected a mixture of fear and desperate determination. The child, barely visible beneath layers of protective fabric, made a soft chirping sound that seemed to resonate with a profound sadness. Maya's hand moved unconsciously to the multi-tool hanging from her belt. She'd seen this scenario play out too many times, refugees turned away, lives discarded like malfunctioning circuit boards. Wait, she found herself saying, stepping forward. The words surprised her as much as they surprised the security team. The lead officer turned, his cybernetic eye scanning Maya with a mix of recognition and irritation. Rodriguez. This doesn't concern you. Another unregistered alien trying to slip through the system. But Maya had already moved closer to the Lyrian woman. Up close, she could see the intricate patterns of stress etched into her skin, not just fear, but a bone-deep exhaustion that spoke of journeys far longer and more brutal than anyone could imagine. What's your name? Maya asked, her voice softer than she intended. The alien hesitated, her throat moving in a complex gesture that might have been a swallow. Zarake, she finally whispered. Of the 9th cluster. Maya knew enough about galactic politics to understand what that meant. The 9th cluster, a region decimated by corporate wars, where entire civilizations had been reduced to cosmic dust. Refugees from that sector were treated with a special kind of institutional cruelty. She has no entry visa, the security officer repeated, his cybernetic eye flickering with bureaucratic coldness. Standard protocol is inhumane, Maya interrupted. Her reputation as a top-tier engineer gave her just enough social capital to challenge the moment. She needs medical processing, not detention. The child chose that moment to emerge slightly from the protective layers. Maya caught a glimpse of extraordinary eyes, not just large, but seeming to contain a complexity that didn't match its apparent age. Something about those eyes made the hair on the back of her neck stand up. A sudden alarm blared through the station's communication system. Emergency protocol signals flashed red across nearby display panels. In the chaos, Maya made a split-second decision. I'll vouch for her, she said, pulling out her engineering credentials. Temporary humanitarian authorization. I'll be personally responsible. The security team looked uncertain. Bureaucracy warred with protocol, human compassion wrestling with systemic indifference. Zarake's luminescent skin seemed to pulse with a mixture of hope and disbelief. The child remained silent, those remarkable eyes taking in everything with an awareness that felt unnervingly mature. Maya knew she had just changed everything, for herself, for Zarake, and for a child whose potential was yet to be understood. The universe, vast and indifferent, continued to spin. But in this small corner of a space station, something extraordinary was about to begin. Seeds of hope. The medical bay of Horizon Station hummed with a soft, antiseptic quiet. Maya watched as the station's chief medical officer, Dr. Elena Martinez, completed her preliminary examination of Zarake and her child. The stark white room felt both sterile and tense, charged with unspoken questions. Malnutrition, Dr. Martinez muttered, reviewing the holographic scans. Significant exposure to radiation. It's a miracle they survived the journey. Zarake sat rigid, her luminescent skin dulled by exhaustion. The child, whose name Maya had learned was Kai, remained unnaturally still, those extraordinary eyes constantly moving, absorbing every detail of the medical equipment around them. "We'll need to file a formal refugee application," the doctor continued, her tone professional but not unkind. But given the current political climate, Maya understood the unfinished sentence. Refugee applications from decimated sectors were rarely approved. The bureaucratic maze was designed to be impenetrable, a wall built from paperwork and indifference. "I'll help," Maya said, surprising herself with her own conviction. Her life had always been about machines, about fixing what was broken. But something about Zarake and Kai spoke to a different kind of repair. As Dr. Martinez completed her report, Kai suddenly reached out, touching a nearby diagnostic terminal. Before anyone could react, the device's display shifted, reconfiguring itself with a speed and precision that made Maya catch her breath. "That's impossible," Dr. Martinez whispered. The medical diagnostic screen now displayed a complex analysis far more detailed than the standard protocol. Microscopic cellular regeneration patterns, genetic markers, environmental stress indicators, all presented in a crystal-clear visualization that should have been beyond the capabilities of the station's medical technology. Zarake's hand moved quickly, pulling Kai close. Fear flickered in her eyes, not of the technology, but of the potential attention it might attract. Maya recognized that look. It was the same expression she'd seen in refugee communities back on Earth, the same protective instinct that drove people to hide their most precious capabilities. "How did you do that?" Maya asked Kai, her voice soft. The child said nothing, but those eyes, they seemed to look through Maya rather than at her. Later, in the small quarters Maya had arranged, Zarake finally spoke about her journey. The 9th cluster had been more than just a war zone. It was a systematic destruction, corporate interests methodically eliminating entire civilizations to exploit resource-rich territories. "Kai is different," she said, her voice a whisper. Different in ways that could be a blessing or a curse. Maya understood complexity. As an engineer, she knew that the most innovative solutions often looked like impossibilities before they were understood. Kai wasn't just intelligent, there was something fundamental about the child's interaction with technology that defied current understanding. The station continued its rhythmic existence around them. Shift changes, cargo transfers, the constant hum of life support systems. But within their small quarters, a different kind of potential was taking shape. Days passed. Maya used her engineering credentials to secure temporary living arrangements, navigating a system designed to push refugees to the margins. She brought Zarake technical manuals, helped her understand the station's communication protocols, created a network of quiet support. "Why are you helping us?" Zarake asked one evening, as Kai sat nearby, disassembling and reassembling a communication relay with an expertise that would have impressed professional engineers. Maya thought about her own journey. Born in the crowded arcologies of São Paulo, she'd seen how systems could crush individual potential. Her escape to the stars hadn't just been about adventure, it was about finding a different way of existing. "Because potential shouldn't be wasted," she finally said. "And because sometimes, helping one person can change everything." Kai looked up, those remarkable eyes meeting Maya's. In that moment, she felt something profound, a connection that transcended species, a glimpse of a future where human compassion could be a transformative force. The universe was vast and often cruel. But here, in this small corner of a space station, something extraordinary was taking root. Technological breakthrough. The maintenance corridor stretched before Maya like a metallic serpent, conduits and data lines weaving through its infrastructure. What had started as a routine diagnostic had become something entirely different. Kai sat beside her, small fingers dancing across a portable diagnostic interface that Maya had modified. 3 months had passed since Zarake and Kai had arrived on Horizon Station. What began as a simple act of compassion had transformed into something far more complex. The child's technological intuition was unlike anything Maya had ever witnessed. "Here," Kai said, pointing to a microscopic fracture in the station's primary communication relay. The diagnostic system Maya had been using would have missed it entirely, a hairline weakness that could potentially compromise the entire station's communication network. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. Kai was 4 standard years old, yet possessed an understanding of complex technological systems that would challenge most senior engineers. Dr. Elena Martinez had been cautiously documenting Kai's abilities. Initial scans revealed unprecedented neural pathways, a biological computing system that seemed to interface directly with technological networks. But they had agreed to keep this information contained, knowing the potential dangers of such a discovery. "We need to be careful," Zarake had warned repeatedly. Her experiences in the 9th cluster had taught her the brutal cost of being different, of standing out. The station's hierarchical system was unforgiving. Corporate interests and military contracts governed everything. A child with Kai's abilities would be seen as a resource to be exploited, not a living being to be protected. That evening, in their compact living quarters, Maya began to understand the full extent of their situation. Kai had been unconsciously improving station systems, energy distribution, life support, communication networks, all without anyone noticing. "How do you see these things?" Maya asked, watching Kai reconstruct a complex circuit board with impossible precision. Kai looked up, those extraordinary eyes reflecting a wisdom far beyond childhood. "It's like hearing a song that's always playing. Most people can't hear it, but it's always there." Zarake watched from the corner, her luminescent skin slightly darker, a sign of stress among her species. She understood the risk more than anyone. In the 9th cluster, children with exceptional abilities were often taken, studied, weaponized. Maya's communication device chirped, an encrypted message from her most trusted colleague in the station's engineering corps. Commander Rafael Santos had been subtly investigating Kai's background, trying to understand the child's origin. "We've traced genetic markers," the message read. "Something extraordinary. Not just adaptation. Evolution." The implications were staggering. Kai wasn't just intelligent, the child represented a potential leap in biological-technological integration that could revolutionize understanding of consciousness itself. But knowledge like this was dangerous. Corporate research divisions would see Kai as the ultimate breakthrough, a living technology that could be studied, replicated, controlled. Maya understood the weight of protection. Her own journey had taught her about survival, about finding spaces between systems, creating sanctuary where institutions saw only resources to be extracted. Late that night, as Zarake and Kai slept, Maya began constructing a plan. Encrypted communication pathways, false documentation, potential escape routes. She would not let Kai become another statistic, another exceptional being ground down by institutional indifference. The station continued its rhythmic existence, cargo transfers, shift changes, the constant hum of life support systems. But within their small quarters, a different kind of revolution was taking shape. Kai represented more than just a technological marvel. The child was a testament to potential, to the extraordinary capabilities that could emerge when compassion met true understanding. The universe was vast and often cruel. But here, in this small corner of a space station, something miraculous was taking root, a seed of possibility that could change everything. Resistance and revelation. The alarm came without warning. A high-pitched frequency that sliced through the station's standard communication channels, causing emergency protocols to flicker to life. Maya was already moving before the first warning lights began to pulse, her hand instinctively reaching for Zarake and Kai. "They found us," Zarake whispered, her luminescent skin rippling with a pattern of fear and defiance. Commander Rafael Santos burst through the door, his normally composed demeanor replaced by a barely contained urgency. "Corporate research team just docked. They have specialized biological extraction warrants, the kind that don't care about consent or living conditions." Maya had prepared for this moment. Months of quiet planning, of building a network of allies who understood the true meaning of protection. Commander Santos wasn't just a colleague, he was part of a loosely connected group of station personnel who had seen too many exceptional beings reduced to mere research subjects. Kai remained unnaturally calm, those extraordinary eyes scanning the room with a computational precision that belied their young age. The child's hand moved almost imperceptibly, fingers tracing invisible patterns in the air that Maya recognized as complex technological signatures. "The station's communication network," Kai said softly. "I can redirect their access points. Make them see what I want them to see." The implications were both terrifying and miraculous. Kai wasn't just avoiding detection, the child was actively manipulating the most sophisticated tracking systems as if they were children's toys. Commander Santos pulled up a holographic display. "Lontech's Biotech Research Division. They've been tracking genetic anomalies across multiple sectors. Kai matches a profile they've been hunting for years." Maya understood the stakes. Lontech wasn't interested in understanding, they were interested in ownership. Children like Kai were seen as potential technological assets, biological computing systems to be extracted, studied, weaponized. "We need to move," Maya said, her engineer's mind already calculating escape routes, potential disguises, ways to break through the station's rigid tracking systems. Zarake's hand found Kai's, a gesture of protection that transcended language. "Not again," she whispered, memories of the 9th cluster's destruction flickering in her eyes. The station began to change around them. Doors that should have been locked suddenly opened. Communication channels became a maze of misdirection. Kai was transforming the station itself into a protective mechanism, bending technological systems with an intuition that defied understanding. Commander Santos began coordinating their escape. A maintenance shuttle, false credentials, a network of contacts who understood the value of protecting potential over institutional control. "They'll never stop looking," Zarake said, her voice a mixture of fear and determination. Maya placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then we'll never stop moving." The corporate research team moved through the station like predators, cybernetic implant scanning, specialized tracking systems probing every corner. But something was wrong. Their systems kept failing, redirecting, showing false information. Kai watched them, those remarkable eyes holding a wisdom that seemed to laugh at their primitive attempts to control what they could not understand. As the maintenance shuttle prepared for launch, Maya realized they were doing more than just escaping. They were creating a new kind of resistance, a testament to the power of protection, of seeing potential where others saw only a resource to be exploited. The universe was vast and often cruel. But in this moment, compassion was becoming a weapon more powerful than any technology. Something extraordinary was about to begin. Transformation and hope. The frontier research colony on Epsilon Horizon was nothing like the sterile environments of Horizon Station. Rough-hewn structures carved into native rock, a patchwork of human ingenuity and survival. Maya watched as Kai explored the exterior communications array, small fingers dancing across complex interfaces that would challenge most senior engineers. 5 years had passed since their escape from Lontech's biotech's pursuit. The loose network of allies, scientists, engineers, refugees, had become more than a support system. They were a family of choice, united by a fundamental belief in protecting potential. Commander Rafael Santos arrived, his weathered face breaking into a rare smile. Incoming transmission from the Galactic Refugee Council. They're interested in our research. Not our research, Maya corrected. Kai's understanding. The child, now approaching 10, looked up. Those extraordinary eyes still held the same computational wisdom, but now tempered with a depth of empathy that continued to surprise everyone around them. Zarake emerged from the colony's medical research wing. Her work had become crucial, documenting Kai's unique neural pathways, demonstrating that what corporate interests saw as a resource was actually a profound leap in biological-technological symbiosis. The story of their escape had become something of a legend among refugee networks. A tale of how compassion could outmaneuver institutional control, how individual action could challenge systemic oppression. Kai approached the main communication hub, fingers tracing invisible patterns. Suddenly, the colony's entire communication network reconfigured, routing, encrypting, optimizing with a precision that would have taken teams of engineers weeks to accomplish. The satellite network, Kai said softly. It was inefficient. Now it can support communications for 3 additional refugee colonies. Maya watched, understanding dawning. This wasn't just technological skill. This was a fundamental reimagining of how systems could work, how technology could serve humanitarian needs rather than corporate interests. The Lontek's pursuit had transformed into something else. Scientific teams from multiple sectors now sought to understand Kai, not as a resource to be extracted, but as a unique form of intelligence that challenged everything they knew about consciousness and technological integration. We're preparing a comprehensive report, Raphael explained. Demonstrating how adaptive intelligence can solve complex systemic challenges. Kai's abilities could revolutionize everything from communication networks to refugee support systems. Zarake's luminescent skin reflected a complex emotional pattern: pride, protection, hope. The trauma of the 9th cluster's destruction had found its counterpoint in Kai's potential to create, to heal, to connect. As the frontier colony's artificial sunset painted the rocky landscape in hues of deep orange and purple, Maya reflected on their journey. What had begun as a simple act of compassion, helping a refugee mother and her child, had become a profound statement about human potential. Kai approached, those remarkable eyes holding a mixture of childlike curiosity and ancient wisdom. "We can do more," the child said. Not a question. A statement of fact. The universe was vast and often cruel. But here, in this small corner of a frontier colony, something miraculous had taken root. A testament to the power of protection, of seeing potential where others saw only difference. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its capacity for compassion, for understanding that true progress comes not from controlling potential, but from nurturing it. Something extraordinary was continuing to unfold.